right, folks. Again, TRD Pro Bros episode 4. Andrew and I are ready to go with the Land Cruiser, which we talked last episode is the grandfather, the grandpa of the Toyota lineup. And we're going to give you a lot of history on why this is so, but we're so excited because when you look at where we are right now in the studio, we are wearing our grandpa sweatshirts, sweaters that have the 40 series, right? It was a 4.2 inline 6.
I mean, we had quite a few variations of them through the years, but it's just, they're all gorgeous. It doesn't matter which layout, whether you got an R market and another market, they're just a home run.
And it was F-type for fantastic.
That's exactly
freaking
right.
awesome.
That's
and I hate
right.
to use the F word, but freaking awesome, right?
It's applicable here.
Applicable. So just a couple public announcements before we dive into the grandpa of our product lineup. Want to talk about TPCO, Toyota Parts Center Online. Trey Crawford, TPCO Trey, gave me the authorization to let the cat out of the bag. But on Black Friday, they're giving 25% off all TRD products, all Toyota genuine parts. And here's the cool thing. We're TRD Pro Bros. TRD is 20% off. And for you dealers that are watching, it's not out of your margin.
It's out of ours.
Ours. The TPC.
That's right.
Right? Margin.
That's
so
right.
we make less money to move this stuff.
That's right.
So pretty cool setup. So please take advantage of TPCO.com.
Totally. Toyota's trying to get some of their paycheck back from me.
Yeah.
Is what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a complete home run. Also, too, to jump back to the grandpa Land Cruiser, right? I'm going to go into a little bit of history, but for me personally, I had to brush up. Car and Driver, Toyota Heritage. I had to do a lot of reading.
Look at how thick this is. This is how much history we have.
And I had to highlight this to make sure that I knew all the series, right? You know what sucks? He has it all on his noggin.
I read it earlier. He didn't know that.
He's the professor. I'm the student. So we wanted to make sure that we did a good show here, and I had to catch up to get at his level. But
there's just a lot that's gone on over the years, and it's hard to there's variations, and then you take well, did it happen in the U.S. or was it global, right? And then you add the rest of the world in, and you're like, whoa, what is this? I've never even seen this before. I mean, you just spend, when you're on your phone and you're just going through tons of cat videos, it's an endless stream of new cat videos. That's what happens with pictures of Land Cruisers with me. I'm like, what is this? Well, now I need to know how did this car exist?
Yeah.
And it's just years of my life lost learning this kind of stuff, but I'm not sad about it.
Well, and it's great too, because he mentions years, right? The Land Cruiser, many, many years ago, when I was young in this company, we used to call it the Land Crusher. LC for Land Crusher, because it'll crush anything that you can possibly drive on. Now, anything outside of driving, you should probably get a plane, a submarine, or rock climbing gear.
You're not terribly good at floating.
Because vehicles do have limitations, right? They're not going to go straight up like a rocket. But having said that, the Land Crusher is the grandpa of our trucks, and it saved our company. So we're going to go into a little bit of history on how it saved our company. If you look at this Car and Driver article that I brought up earlier, Toyota Heritage information, the Korean War was the birthplace of the Land Cruiser. Toyota was in financial straits. Our balance sheet was not a fortress like it is today. We were pretty close to going out of business. The U.S. military needed military trucks, and desperately. It was about a 2-hour flight from Japan, and Toyota was tasked with building a prototype, a military vehicle called the Toyota Jeep BJ Bravo Juliet B-Type 3.4 liter inline 6.
And it pains me to see Toyota and Jeep together. But this is the history. It's okay.
It is that we have to tell you the facts, folks. Bravo Juliet.
That's right. So this all changed. Obviously, Jeep was a style of vehicle, right? So it was the Willys Company Jeep. And Toyota was making their Jeep as a model type, not necessarily as a brand like we know it is today. But because we utilized that, we received a lawsuit from Jeep because you can't have competition, especially when the competition is better. That's what happens, right? So they had to change that. They had to look for a name. What were they going to use? There was Land Rover in existence, and we came up with Land Cruiser. Way better. Way better of a name. I know there's similarities, but it's way better.
Yeah.
But what's kind of fun is that we've talked about FJ40s, there's FJ60s, there's FJ, or the J is in lots of different models. Typically, we start with the number or the letter that is related to the engine type. So in this first one, it was a BJ for the B Series engine Jeep. We have the FJ for the F Series engine Jeep. Growing up, when I was younger, I thought it was always Japan, right? That would make sense. Well, it's actually Jeep. So
Yeah.
still a little bit of a throwback, a little homage to what it started as. But, we've done away with our Jeep ways from the very beginning, thankfully, and we've been land cruising the whole time.
And the good news is we can always change it, right?
Right.
I mean, Toyota won't, but we can say that J stands for jacked up.
Totally.
And that's how you feel when you drive them.
Juiced.
Juiced. Yeah. Juiced.
And what's funny is I have a hat that says Land Cruiser King of the Road.
Yeah. And that is true.
That's true.
Fact.
Right?
Yeah. So Toyota started selling it under the brand Land Cruiser in 1954. But 57 Halloween Day, Toyota Motor Sales USA was born in Hollywood, right? Hollywood, California. 1958, 287 Toyota pets. It's funny how they call it pet because they were underpowered.
Yeah, the Toyota Pet Crown was not the greatest car for our market, right? They developed it and then they brought it here. They didn't develop it for here.
But the good news, they sold them. 287 were sold, and one 20 Series Land Cruiser. Now, can you imagine being the guy or gal that buys the first 20 Series Land Cruiser? And I got to kick it to my teammate because he's actually had some experience with this actual vehicle.
Yes, so there's obviously a lot more that goes into this story, but the Land Cruiser Heritage Museum over in Salt Lake City, Utah, did some negotiating and work and was able to acquire the first 20 Series Land Cruiser. So this was the first Land Cruiser to the States. They found it, they were able to get a hold of it, and it is sitting in the museum for all to admire.
And what's rad is that Andrew in December gets to go out there and work with the Toyota accessories team on accessory configurations and layouts?
Yeah, basically kind of discussing how important this heritage is and what can we do to enhance it, bring it back to that. What can we do in today's vehicle environment to carry on what Land Cruiser has done?
They told me they needed one person, and it wasn't going to be me because then I'd have to bring notes and study. They wanted the guy that already has it downloaded.
I will be there
just for the
open to
record.
close. As soon as those doors unlock, I'm in there.
Yes. So go through the series because this is the 40 series, right?
Right. So it's tough because there's a lot of similarities, and that's where when you talk to these guys like Kurt Williams of the Land Cruiser world, they can identify boom, boom, boom. But to most people, like 20 to 40 series, there's minor styling changes, but overall they look very similar. Then you go to the 55 series, the Iron Pig, and that was like a very unique looking vehicle. You see some of them out there, but not a ton of them. And then you jump to simultaneously 60 series and 70 series. 70 series never came to the US, so they're kind of a rare vehicle. 60 series is what we saw a lot of. Then you had the 80 series, but the 70 series was still going on and has been going on since then. And then you had when we went into 60s and 80s, we split off and we made the Prado line. So that came from one of the 70 series line, and we created the Prado, and that's like a light duty Land Cruiser, if you will. So some of our numbers we skipped, like we saw in the US 80 series to 100 series. Well, there was a 90 series, but it was a Prado. So we filled in all of the number ranges, but we in the US saw 80 series, and then our 100 series is when we switched to an IFS, independent front suspension variable, where we have a V8 engine in it. It was a much wider vehicle than the 80 series. And then we went to the 200 series. 200 series went away, and now we're at the 250 series. And then all mixed in there, we had the FJ Cruiser, right?
Yes.
So we've had these kind of variations that play off of this name, and they pay attention to certain items, but they tweak it a bit for a different market or a different focus. So we've had really multiple levels of Land Cruiser-ness in different vehicles as time has gone on, and they each have these strengths in different ways. Like, I can't say which one is the best personally because they have so many strengths. And honestly, sitting down between the 70 and the 250, like it's such an incredible thing for me to compare the two and where they stand and how they play a role in our lineup.
Yeah, and it's going to be neat because later on in this episode, you're going to be able to see Andrew do that very thing. He's going to be able to compare his 70 series, right?
Yeah.
With the current 250 series, and it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, and so what has happened really in the modern Land Cruiser after the 200 series, when we went to 300 series, which we don't have in the US but is available globally, and our 250 series, which is available globally, including the US, was we brought everything onto our TNGA-F platform. We've talked to you guys about this before. With Tundra is the one that started it off for us, and all of our body-on-frame vehicles have moved over to this. I don't know what the F stands for. I tell people to remember it's frame.
Right. Yeah.
But it also could stand for fantastic
Yeah, totally agree.
or freaking awesome.
Yeah. And that's the one thing when we drive these vehicles off road, Andrew and I, it's amazing how strong they are. They don't get that crackling, the popping as you're twisting the frame, but also how smooth they are just driving down the road.
Yeah, I tell people this all the time, but the newest Land Cruiser for us, the J250, is the best daily driver Land Cruiser we've ever produced.
Yeah, agree.
Sure, there's strengths to the 200 series, there's strengths to the 80s, all those, and that's where I go back to. It's hard for me to just pick one, but as a reasonable vehicle to purchase, drive daily, and experience outdoors with, we have never made a better vehicle.
Yeah, agree. So here's the thing, right? At the end of the day, the Land Crusher, the Land Cruiser, J, BJ, whatever you want to call it, 40, 50, 100 series, 200 series, we have to say it's TRD. It's totally rad, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's give a heart for how rad it is.
So rad.
So I think it's time to leave the studio. We have got to go into nerd mode.
That's right.
Land Crusher nerd mode.
Full bore.
So we're
Guilty
going to
as
go
charged.
to A-List Garage, and we're going to look at his 70 series and also look at what it looks like in conjunction with the 250 series.
Yeah. Let's go compare and contrast.
Perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, Pro Bro 1, MJ, we have a treat for you today. We are at A-List Andrew's garage, and I guarantee you there's something Land Cruiser-y going on in there. So follow me. Let's go check it out, see what Andrew's doing. Bear with me. We're going through the latest generation Land Cruiser to get to the 70 series. This is Andrew's baby.
How'd you get in here?
I just walked in.
I got to start locking my doors.
You do start locking your doors because there's some prizes in here. I mean, look at this unit. Wow. Andrew, talk to me. What are you doing?
This is my secret life here. We talked about what's important in our lives, right? Obviously, my family is the most important, but this is like a subset of my family. This is my other child that gets a lot of care and feeding as well. This is my Land Cruiser. It's an HZJ 77, 1993, imported from Japan, and it gets way more care and feeding than it deserves.
So tell me about the difference, the inspiration that came from the early 40 series, your 70 series, to the current gen.
Do you notice anything in the mirrors?
Yeah, they're very
Some similarities, right? So like kind of that tall, narrow mirror. We saw that on 60 series as well, but really cool like homage and lots of little design cues. Obviously round headlights and stuff on the ground. Sorry. Heritage grill. Like this is normal Land Cruiser grill. That is a special heritage style. You're like, they're the same thing. But the big thing for me, and this is like, I can't stress it enough, you've got to sit in it to experience it, is the height of the glass. We talk about, we love these old trucks, they're so nostalgic and there's so much glass and you can see out of them, so I don't need cameras. That's how this truck was, right? And I kiss my kids every time we go in there because they'll probably die in a car accident in this vehicle, right? And that's just a given. But then you come to this modern vehicle that is safe and has all these features and abilities, and look at how tall the glass is. So similar. So my kind of one-liner between this modern vehicle and others is there is not another modern SUV that has as good a visibility as the new Land Cruiser. And it's a huge positive that they've been able to do that. So nice, tall, flat windshield like we have. Not great for rock chips, but great for visibility. And then this kind of cowl area is nice and tall and flat like we have on these. Obviously, this one's a lot smaller, but nice and flat like we expect, whereas a lot of our new cars have that opening in there. So just a lot of similarities in design cues between the two, which just helps you kind of appreciate a little bit more the Land Cruiser. You've got this kind of hump on the hood, and then it's lower in the center so you can see over it. It's kind of the same thing. You've got a little bit of a hump on the Land Cruiser hood and a channel down the center. So just little things that we've seen through different variations of Land Cruiser, and it's just cool to see these little tiny pieces that maybe I'm extrapolating more than you should. But to me, it's all the similarities that just make it a cool, unique, inspired vehicle between old and new.
Tell me, I'm giving you a thumbs up. Tell me about the powertrain difference, right? This one's got a hybrid.
So this is what's crazy, right? This is an inline 4.2 liter turbo diesel. And I tell that to someone and they're like, oh man, I want that engine. Why can't we have that in the US? Love this engine. It's a great truck, automatic. And then we come to the new one and it's a 2.4 liter, not a 4.2, but a 2.4 liter turbocharged four-cylinder with a one-motor hybrid. And went off-roading. I'm driving my old Land Cruiser. My friend is driving his new Land Cruiser, and he's like comfortable, smooth, passing me up hills, great gas mileage, and I'm like, come on, baby, you can do it. So it's just so different in the design focus. The design focus of a lot of these vehicles were not for modern US highways, right? This engine will likely never die. Basic maintenance, oil changes, and it'll be fine. But you try to take it at 70 miles an hour and it's like, whoa, what is happening? This vehicle, also really great durability. It needs a little bit more care and feeding than what this old Land Cruiser has, but you cruise at 85 and you're like, oh shoot, I gotta watch my speed. So it's just a totally different experience, and as much as I love my 70, I'll never get rid of it. You know, it's part of the family now. But this Land Cruiser is the best daily driving Land Cruiser that I think we have ever made. It is the most reasonable daily driver, tight turning radius, great fuel economy, comfortable interior, great handling, and plenty of power for the size of the vehicle that it is.
So basically, you're saying Grampy is the best.
Right.
We love Grampy.
Here's my long-term plan. I will keep this old utilitarian special Land Cruiser, and eventually I will convince my wife that she needs this vehicle so we can still have both in the family. I'm not allowed to buy any more cars right now, so this has to be hers. MJ, do you notice anything missing here?
Well, I don't know, like I guess a tailgate?
What an astute observation. Would you consider this a Land Cruiser still?
Yeah, it's iconic.
Right. Let me take you next door. Huh, look at that.
Wow.
No tailgate.
It's kind of like the original.
Oh.
You are already at that part of the podcast where it is Curbside Keller. And what's so exciting about this curbside is we are at Groove Toyota with one of our favorites, Rob Edwards, who kind of runs the whole group. And he was showing us a new brand he's creating for Land Cruiser 58, right? He's badging them all. He's putting some special accessories on. What do you think about that 58 brand?
I mean, here's the deal.
I'm putting my hat on. How about you?
I had to adjust it to my giant
Yeah, this is a cool hat.
But here's the deal. We talk about accessories, and that is what the 58 edition is all about. So there's a coincidence here that we have the 1958 grade of Land Cruiser. That's when we got our first Land Cruiser here in the States. This is the 58 edition, which is unique to Colorado. There's actually 58 14ers, and that's where the name came from. But it also launched when we brought back Land Cruiser. So there's like this overlap unintentionally occurring. But the important thing here is exposure to accessories. This is the opportunity they've created to show more accessories to their customers, give them a discount for packaging these accessories together and getting them implemented on their new vehicle. So the dealer sells more accessories, the customer gets to see and build the vehicle they want. Where's the downside?
And what I thought was cool too is they're including these hats when you buy this edition, but they also put this logo on Carhartt black hoodies.
Yes.
Who doesn't like a Carhartt hoodie?
I know.
I'm
They're
so excited
nice.
about this brand. I will say on the record, this is almost as cool as Andrew and I's 40 series sweatshirts.
When they start making sweatshirts, we're going to have a talk with them.
Yeah. The only problem is we're not really grandpas yet.
I know.
We're still in the parent range.
We're gonna
but
grow into
when
it.
I am a grandpa, I'm wearing this sweater all the time.
That's right.
Yeah. So without further ado, let's go to Curbside Keller and see what he's got for
Curbside
us.
Keller again. Thanks for the introduction, guys. Out here with longtime friend of the region, Rob Edwards with Groove Automotive. Rob, Land Cruiser is cool with Toyota. You've got a long history with Land Cruiser, new and old. What's your think about Toyota bringing Land Cruiser back?
Blessed that in one word, we were so close to losing it, and it took a little time off, and then it comes back, and it might be the greatest thing that Toyota's ever created. So one word would be blessed that it's back, and that they didn't sissify it, but they made it as it should, and they honored its rich heritage and tradition. So job well done, all in Japan that built it the right way.
Awesome. Again, we're so glad to have it back. One thing with the Land Cruiser is accessorization. And Toyota's really stepped up our accessorization game. I've been exploring your dealership. I've been seeing you online. You guys are in the accessory game. What are some of the ideas that you're thinking about with Toyota, and especially Land Cruiser and accessorization?
Well, I think this is really has been going for a while in terms of Toyota's been out here for years and years and years trying to tell us that customers want accessories. And we say we sell cars and we service cars, we don't put extra stuff on them. And that time has changed. And it's because the customers are telling us what they really want to do inside these vehicles. We know it's a $15 billion industry and we're a little slow to the party. But now that we're here, I think that for us, it's the wheels, it's the tires, it's the lifts, it's the running boards, it's the roof racks, it's the camping, it's creating the overland experience. And in Colorado, we are a lifestyle state, and we need to make sure that we have vehicles in stock that a customer can touch and feel. And if you build them, they will come. It's like HGTV, right? You see what you want. You don't want to build that yourself, but once you see it, hey, I can't live without it. And that's why you have to be in this game. And these vehicles, both Tacoma or Land Cruiser or the new 4Runner, we all better be great or on our games, because the customer wants they want all these vehicles accessorized, for sure.
We've been exploring that to the TRD Pro Bros. We're up in Montana just last month, checking out all kinds of overlanding stuff.
I saw the episode. Why wasn't I invited?
Maybe next time.
Okay.
We'll get you up there. It's a fun place. Now, again, we explore Montana. I explore a lot of dealerships with the TRD Pro Bros. One thing I've seen here, exploring Groove, that I've never seen anything else anywhere else, is this 58 edition. What does that mean?
The 58 edition, this is really cool. We wanted to actually have a brand within a brand. And so the manufacturers have all had their editions, the Nightshade edition and those sorts of things. We wanted to have our own edition that a customer can choose. So we have a menu, and there's column 1, 2, and 3. And as soon as a customer picks enough accessories, we assign it an edition. And it's a real edition. It's the 58 edition. And we also have 1 of 1, 2 of 1, 3 of 1. They sign a form when they get it. And it's a completely accessorized vehicle. And that becomes the 58. And not only do you get the 58 edition, right? We give every customer the 58 edition hat, right? Which is bad to the bone. We got a couple of different styles.
Yeah.
Where did 58 come from? There are 58 14,000 foot peaks in Colorado. And we give them this and we say, go explore, go take your vehicle up all these mountain passes, go explore. And 58, of course, happens to be the first year of the Land Cruiser. So we kind of, it was a double kill, 58 14ers and the first year of the Land Cruiser.
Kind of fortunate, looked into that one. I like that.
We looked into that one. And then we give them the 58 Carhartt sweater with, hey, it's not stock, baby. So we have fully embraced accessorizing vehicles and creating packages, and it's been a blessing for us. And customers, when we give them this bag and we say, hey, here you go, they're all revved up. So it's been pretty fun.
I don't think you can get the message across about accessorization more than saying right there, bold, in orange, not stock.
Not stock.
Well, thank you for your time today.
You got it.
All right. So we got to show you some really cool content, right? From Andrew's garage, going through the whole timeline of Land Cruiser and how it really saved the company. That's why we call it the Grandpa, because it's been around forever.
Taking
And
care of
people
us.
love Grandpa. But we also got to go curbside and show you the 58 edition Land Cruisers that Rob Edwards and his Groove Toyota is building for our customers. But the one thing I cannot get my pulse on is, where is Caitlin?
Well, have I got a treat for you? Caitlin was asking, who can we talk to that's a customer who's modified their Land Cruiser? And they're pretty new, right? They're out there, but there's not a lot that are modified. Well, luckily, I found one down the street from my house. I'm like, that's a good looking Land Cruiser. And then I came by later and it looked even better with more accessories. So we have sicked her on a customer who owns a new Land Cruiser that's already been modified. His name is Isaac. We're going to kick it over to Caitlin and get some more juicy details.
Caitlin here with Isaac. Believe it or not, this is Andrew's friend, and he just happened to be driving around the neighborhood one day and saw all of the awesome Toyota product in his driveway and stopped and connected with him. But thank you for joining us, Isaac.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
He is a real deal in the flesh 2024 Land Cruiser owner, so we're just going to ask him some questions today. He'll be the one answering them. But we're obviously in front of your beautiful 24 Land Cruiser. Tell us about, why you had to get this.
Well, I had to get it, number one, because it's a Land Cruiser.
Of course.
I've not always wanted one, but they're brand new, back in the United States. And not only are they back, but they've never had this one in the United States, a Prado 250. So this is pretty special. And with the 5th gen kind of, being dated, still love it, but kind of being dated, and the 6th gen not here yet, I was like, Land Cruiser really kind of fills the gap.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm ever going to get rid of it. So
No?
it's
It's yours
amazing.
forever?
I love this truck.
And you've already accessorized it quite a bit.
Yeah.
So talk me through what all you've done.
Yeah, so I don't think I can own a Toyota without
Yeah.
at least doing something to it.
Okay.
The goal is to, take them up into the mountains, explore, go four-wheeling. So it's kind of like, okay, what's the 3 to 5 major things I got to do to make this a bit more capable? They're already unbelievably capable from the factory, but the first 3 things was rock sliders.
Okay.
I actually did Toyota OEM rock sliders on this one.
We'd love to hear that.
Yes, it was amazing. Suspension from Dobinson's, like a 2-inch lift.
Okay.
And then wheels and tires. And these are 35-inch tires.
Okay.
Also, the first time you can fit 35s on
Yeah.
basically a stock Toyota. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I want to let the cat out of the bag here a little bit. Isaac actually has a following, right? You're Team 4Runner.
Yeah, I don't know about me personally, but Team 4Runner does.
You can take credit. Absolutely. So if there's anyone that knows about off-roading and 4-buying, it's going to be this guy. So the fact that he's buying our product is a really big deal. And like I said, Team 4Runner, there's a 4Runner in the garage.
Yes.
There's a Tacoma behind us. I don't know if you can see it in the shot. But talk to us about Toyota product. Why do you love our product?
I've always been a Toyota fanatic, enthusiast.
Okay.
Yes. Long story short, I grew up coming to Colorado from South Dakota.
Okay.
Coming to Colorado in the summers with my dad going four-wheeling. As long as I can remember, a little kid. He had first-gen Tacomas, Toyota pickups before they were Tacomas, third-gen 4Runners. And then kind of when I don't know, remember it the most was right when the 5th gen came out, which is crazy, which was 2010. I would have just gotten my driver's license. I'd have been 14 at the time. We came out to Colorado. We rented a 5th gen 4Runner. We took it up in the mountains, did Schofield Pass, all the amazing trails in Colorado, and I was like, this is it. I don't even need to look
peaked.
anywhere else. This is it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you have any experience with competitive product in your, off-road exploration?
Yes. So never owned a competitive product for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But I have lots of experience. My dad and I grew up in the car business. My dad's always owned a car lot, so I cycled through vehicles all the time.
Okay.
So I've taken Jeep Wranglers and Gladiators up in the mountains, taken old Broncos and taken new Broncos too. I prefer something reliable that's not going to break down and that's easy and quiet on the road, that you can, zip up I-70 going 80 and then also hit a trail and keep up with everybody else and do even better.
Yeah.
So they've never done a ton for me.
Yeah.
I'm also naturally very biased. I just love the Toyota brand. So
Yeah, and we love that.
Yeah.
So in terms of Toyota product in the 4x4 space versus competitors, it sounds like for you it comes down to a combination of reliability and then also kind of that duality of on-road and off-road performance.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
100%.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're good here. Thank
Amazing.
you, Isaac.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
Awesome.
it.
Back to you guys.
All right, folks, what an episode. I mean, I got a question. If you had an original 20 series or 40 series, would you add TRD to it? And this is the predicament we're in, right? Because most Toyota product, even if it's a Camry, I'm going to put Camry TRD wheels on it. It just looks so good.
Yeah.
But with the Land Cruiser specifically, if you had one of those early models, the value is set in the original factory equipment, right? We do know some people put some aftermarket stuff underneath the hood and modify it and whatnot. But as far as the aesthetics, it's how it was delivered in its original sense. So we get that as TRD Pro Bros, right? But our biggest takeaway, because we're in a Grampy sweatshirts or sweaters, is let's keep Grampy.
Yeah. They have set the stage for the design, right? We talk about the Heritage Grill, the TRD Pro. It's literally from the 40 series.
Yes.
So like they don't have to change. They already are it. They started it.
Yeah. And the cool thing too is we do have a book of accessories that you can get for the Land Cruiser. They're specifically for that. We mentioned tpco.com, Toyota Parts Center online. Black Friday, get 25% off.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is I want to ask, with all that we've learned today, what are the top 5 TRD Pro Bro accessories for the truck, Land Crusher?
Okay. All right. Well, you know, obviously we're not going into all of the historical vehicles, the 40, the 55. All those vehicles are fantastic, and I wish we still had some accessories for them. We'd all be happy about that. So we're going to talk about what our current options are for the 250 series specifically, but we have some incredible ones. So our top 5. First one, rock rails. They fit really, really well into the vehicle. They're easy to bolt up. It's a very aesthetically pleasing while being functional accessories for protecting this vehicle while you're doing some light off-roading, okay? So number 1 is rock rails. Number 2 is the all-weather floor liner. So this vehicle comes with all-weather floor liners, and we can add one to the rear as well in that rear cargo area. But if you're going outdoors, you want carpet? No. You want all-weather floor mats, okay?
Yeah.
So
You want to hose them down.
exactly. That's got to be on the top of our list. The next one is our skid plates. We have full-length skids. We have a front skid and a transmission skid. They're steel. They go all the way back and protect everything underneath. Sometimes we call them belly skids in the aftermarket world. But this is a super cool item that we have ready to roll, designed from the factory and available at your dealership. Super nice that we have this available. And the last one, illuminated door sills.
Yeah, that's kind of the bling, right?
Who doesn't want to see that?
Why wouldn't you want to open the door and be reminded that you drive a Land Cruiser?
We put Land Cruiser badging on all kinds of stuff. Why not have it light up for you at nighttime on the door sill? I'm all in.
It's the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. So that's my top 5. The Land Cruiser has all the good stuff. Lots of great accessories that are available for this vehicle now, and they really enhance the drivability and the usage of it, which is what I'm all about.
See, I don't know what's pure awesomeness, the A-list or Andrew, or the fact you know everything about Land Cruiser.
It's them coming together.
Yeah, let's just do one. Put them all in one right there. We're good to go. So special thanks to A-List Garage, Andrew, for the Heritage transfer. You can definitely see it aesthetically, even from a design standpoint, what Toyota did, which they did a fantastic job going from where we came from and where we are now. So this truck is going to be a complete home run, the grandpa, the Land Crusher, the Land Cruiser. Caitlin's Corner, curbside, Keller with Rob Edwards, who runs the Groove Automotive Group. He's a personal friend of mine, an amazing person. Everyone I talk to at that dealership group loves him. They rave about what kind of an amazing person he is. So we're very grateful to have that relationship with him. Lots of love from both Andrew and I for joining us on the show. Any last things since you're the Land Cruiser guy?
Get out there and experience this vehicle. Help people understand how incredible the heritage is that has gone into the development of this vehicle. I tell people all the time, even from a visibility standpoint, the visibility of this modern SUV is unbeatable in the market. So being able to see and experience really as close as we can to an old vehicle in a modern package, it's a home run. I absolutely love driving this vehicle. So share that love with other people and how important the heritage and the history of that vehicle is. And hopefully we can see a lot more out on the road.
Fantastic. Love you guys.
Love you. Bye bye.